What's up guys, it's Unders and welcome to the series on the Arturia FX collection.
Keep it real, I'm independent, I don't need no deal. I'm jaws on the beat, I got flow that kills. Do my thing with a few G's, Lauren Hill.
Hi guys, so in this video today we're going to look at the 1176 compressor, and the tip I'm going to do today is around using it on a vocal bus just to control the peaks and troughs in the vocals and just level it out a little bit so we can always hear it in our mix. So we're going to take that 1176, we're going to put it on the vocal bus. I'm just going to show you how to set it up for compression, sort of what I would go for, and just do a little bit of A and B. So let's dive over to Logic, load up the project and get going. Okay, so let's have a look at the Arturia FET76 on this track, and I'm going to use it to try and glue all the vocals together in their bus at the end. So the audio we're going to be working on is from this track just here.
Hold up, don't get lost in the sauce.
And this bus.
Don't get lost in the force. Hungry for the money, free course meal. I said my name for.
So these are the vocal layers together, but with all the reverb and stereo effects really taken away. Everything would be this.
Hold up, don't get lost in the sauce. Jedi mind tricks, don't get lost in the.
But I'm just looking to get control on that key, like mid-focused vocal, so it's always going to be audible in the track. And the 76 is a pretty common compressor to do that with, so we're going to test out this one. Arturia's version is a little bit different. First thing that I'm going to point out to you, up in the top right-hand corner next to the little light bulb icon are these two arrows pointing down. We've got a whole extra module for the 76. You don't get this module really with any other of the emulations out there. They tend to just focus on the compressor. However, this allows us to do some of the fancy sidechaining stuff and make sure we've got band filters and things afterwards. Super useful, especially if we're mixing, say, an instrument bus that maybe got something like cellos in that can really interfere with our drums. We can use drum trigger to like really filter those out just for those key moments and still have the nice feel of the 76, which is super useful. So the way that you dial in a 76 is you balance the inputs and outputs rather than bringing down a threshold. So you feed more signal in and then you reduce the output signal until it hits the compression ratio that you're after. Now that can be quite tricky to balance, especially as the readouts are quite sporadic in what they do. You can move very small increments. However, Arturia introduced this little link just here, so we can quite simply adjust this screw and they will now always be linked together and move in perfect harmony. We've got the readouts here at the bottom. Now, I don't think this vocal needs a particularly heavy amount of compression, just a little bit of control. So we would leave it on a ratio of 4, and attack-wise, I think quite slow will probably work for us. We're going to leave that in the mid. However, release, there's some pretty punchy aspects in there. I do want those to be released quite quickly. Counterintuitive to some compressors, slow is actually going to go to the left and fast is going to be to the right. However, Arturia have made it very easy by giving us arrows and names. Super useful again for quick and easily dialing in, especially if you're used to reducing things the other way. So from that, I'm just going to play the vocal and dial it in, probably looking for 3 to 4 dB of compression, somewhere around that region, maybe a little less. We'll have a listen.
Hold up, don't get lost in the sauce. Jedi mind tricks, don't get lost in the force. Hungry for the money, free course meal. I send my name for the bill, and I'ma pay that, always keep it real. I'm independent, I don't need no deal. I'm jaws on the beat, I got flow that kills. Do my thing with a few G's, Lauren Hill. Hold up.
So just there, it's giving a really nice amount of control. So we're pushing in around 29 and the output's automatically reducing it for us as well, the same amount.
Hold up, don't get lost in the sauce, Jedi. Hold up, don't get lost in the sauce, Jedi.
Now the thing about linking them together is when we've done this, we're reducing the overall gains, we're losing a few dB, and it's reduced the output. So now what I would usually do is actually unlink them, and I'm going to add just a couple of dB back in like this, just so we're back at a nice level. And then I'm just really quickly going to A/B the level with the compressor on and the compressor off on a short chunk of the vocal with the whole track in context, just to make sure that we are making a difference.
Hold up, don't get lost in the sauce. Jedi mind tricks, don't get lost in the force. Hungry for the money, free course. Hold up, don't get lost in the sauce. Jedi mind tricks, don't get lost in the force. Hungry for the money, free course. Hold up, don't get lost in the sauce. Jedi mind tricks, don't get lost in the force. Hungry for the money, free course. Hold up, don't get lost in the sauce. Jedi mind tricks, don't get lost in the force. Hungry for the money, free course.
I've mixed this pretty well. We're not losing the vocal in any aspect. However, once the compressor's on, everything's at a much more controlled level. You can feel the vocal does escape just a little bit when it's disabled, especially in those first few words. It kind of flies out through the music and then comes back leveled. The compressor keeps it level the whole time. I'm just going to play it through one more time, first with the compressor off, and I want you to listen to how that vocal escapes through the track a little bit in the second run through as the 76 controls it.
Hold up, don't get lost in the sauce. Jedi mind tricks, don't get lost in the force. Hungry for the money, free course. Hold up, don't get lost in the sauce. Jedi mind tricks, don't get lost in the force. Hungry for the money, free course.
But having that control there just means the vocal's always in the same space. Now, this can be really useful when you're listening on other types of media. For example, someone plays back on their phone or some small bud earphones. You want that vocal to be on point, always in the same place, because they're going to have adjusted their listening environment, and having the vocal suddenly jump out is going to make them want to turn it down, and then they lose it a bit. We're just going to control it as much as possible while still keeping the dynamics and feel. I think that's done it really well there. That was my tip on compressing the vocal bus using the 76 compressor from Arturia's FX collection, and I hope it was useful to you, and I really look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care.